The second test between India and Bangladesh's men's cricket teams is a key contest from the Indian perspective in particular. The race to the World Test Championships final is heating up, and a win here for India is imperative. But that looks absolutely bleak, a little bleaker, of course, as we are heading to a draw in all likelihood, though India is pushing hard. But there are a few questions that need to be answered. One, what has gone wrong with the venue? How come no play was possible for most of the first 3 days, despite no rain on 2 of those 3 days? Could the test have been picked and played elsewhere? Then, of course, the important aspect of the scenarios. What does India need to do to ensure they stay on course to making it to that World Test Championship final? Many questions here, and I'll tackle them one at a time. Let's talk about what happened over the 4 days, including today, that has concluded in Kanpur. Day 1, there was some cricket that was played, but conditions were a little wet. As I had mentioned earlier, there were predictions of rain and the conditions were quite overcast. Play was called off due to bad light, and then of course came the rains. Only 35 overs were managed to be bowled. Bangladesh were batting first with the constant breaks. The rains lashed the city of Kanpur. The monsoon has been overstaying its welcome this particular season, and Kanpur's Green Park faced the brunt of all of this. Day 2, no rain from 8 a.m. onwards, yet the pitch was covered, damp patches were all seen through the ground, stumps thrown down, paint work was getting done on certain parts of the pitch. Umpires kept coming out to inspect the field of play, and ultimately there was no play declared on day 2.
They gave us 3 different times for inspection, but never told us what is the issue. I told them that you can start the match, but if you have any concern, let me know.
Clearly, the issue was the lack of proper facilities to make sure that the test would get underway. But the most endearing aspect here was the spirit of the fans. Even though the teams themselves failed even to so much as turn up to the ground on day 2, fans were gathered in huge numbers. They tried to keep themselves busy despite the rains, keep themselves entertained with chants and beating of the drums. It was indeed a very heartwarming sight.
I am feeling bad. The game should have continued for all 5 days. It's the UPC and the match organizers who should be blamed. We are coming from different parts of the state and investing money to watch the match, but of no use.
Yes, there was some bit of disappointment because on day 3, the off-field drama continued. Questions were being raised on just how prepared, or rather ill-prepared, Green Park really was as a venue to host this test match. Knowing the predictions, in fact, the association claimed they were doing their best. Their 2 super soppers were working full-time, but they eventually had to borrow a third from the Lucknow venue to try and speed up the process of drying the ground. The drainage system, of course, had been a big worry for the association, and it proved to be a bit of a disaster for them, leaving fans quite enraged on social media. Today was day 4, and both India and Bangladesh tried their best to give fans some sort of a contest, something to look forward to. So there was some play that happened today. In fact, they extended the duration of the day's play to get some more time, get some more overs that they'd missed over the course of the test so far. And maybe India has just about opened the door to try and sneak in a win somehow, with one more day to go in this very, very strangely contested test. But really, this throws open the question of why everyone involved in drawing up the schedule was tied to only this particular venue, a venue that has proved to be problematic in the past. We've mentioned it before. It happened when they hosted the India-New Zealand test last. Now, could we have had another venue instead of this one? Yes, Lucknow's Ekana Stadium, great facilities. It was a new stadium, who was And who was most affected by this? That becomes the next follow-up question after this. The fans, of course. They came out in hordes to watch Test cricket. They got some of it today, though. But a format that experts keep saying will die down soon, despite a section of the stands being closed out because of the infrastructure and the danger of that particular stand, balcony C, that we mentioned collapsing. Despite all of these concerns, fans still turned up, spending money and catching close to no action for 3 days. Now, who else does this impact? Why Team India, of course. So let's look at how the outcome of this rain-hit test could affect India's chances depending on the result. Now, they currently are topping the points table in the race to the World Test Championships finale. A 2-0 whitewash here against Bangladesh would strengthen India's chances to make it to the final. With India needing 3 more wins alone, and we say it as if it's easy, but 3 wins definitely from the 5 matches coming up later. Now, their next, of course, is a series against New Zealand and at home. Now, if India were to share these 6 points from this test, if it ends up in a draw, that is, so that will be 6 points shared between India and Bangladesh, this equation then makes it a little complicated for India thereon. Because they will not only need to do a clean sweep of the New Zealand series that's coming up, but also win at least 2 of the matches that they play against Australia. That's the all-critical and intense Border-Gavaskar series. It's an away series, so there will be a lot riding on this one against Bangladesh. So tomorrow, day 5, so critical for India to try and ease things up when they take on teams that have been very, very difficult and trying in the past, like Australia. So a lot hinges on how day 5 tomorrow will pan out.
Firstpost decodes the U.S. election, explains how America chooses its president. Your primer on the race to the White House. Everything you need to know about how America votes and its global implications. U.S. Election Explained, every Monday and Thursday only on Firstpost.